Todd Dean, checking in. I'd first of all like to say thank you, Bernardo, for this opportunity to speak at the Best You Expo. What a privilege and an honor. So thank you for that. So I know your time is valuable, so let's just jump right into it. Okay, you've got many speakers and opportunities to speak to different topics. Today, the topic we're going to talk about is really around mental health, addiction, depression, suicide, and struggles that we all have in our lives. So I was sitting here thinking before I approach this, which angle, which approach, which is going to be the most effective that you want to hear today. So we're going to make this real. So I have a question for you. Do you have any struggles in your life? Do you have any financial struggles? Do you have any struggles with your relationships or relationship? Do you have struggles with your kids? Do you have struggles with your parents? Do you have struggles with your friends? Are you happy? Are you grounded? And most importantly, are you at peace? So today is going to offer and share a little bit of the solutions to help bring happiness and groundedness to many of those questions. I can tell you personally, I've been very successful in life. I've also had my valleys and struggles as well, both. And what I can tell you today is me and my team with Sinjara Wellness are working on the solutions to make a better future, quite frankly, for all of us. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, thank you for being here. Specifically with addictions and mental health, we're going to start with those two areas. We could go off into many other tangents, but because of time, we're going to stick to those two. So I can tell you from personal experience as well as all the people I've worked with directly and indirectly in my life, and I'm talking the top professionals, many of them in the country, is that we are working on some different solutions to help you. And here's how we're doing it. Number one, have you had struggles and issues? Where do you go? That's exactly right. Friends and family. Is that going to help you with your issues? Probably not. Okay, second level, you go up to a counselor, you pay a lot of money, you go to a lot of sessions. Did that change your patterns of behavior? And more importantly, did that solve what you were looking for? Chances are probably not. Did you go to pastor, priest, minister, church, worship? Did that help? Well, it certainly helped from the spiritual component, but it's not going to help from changing the patterns of behavior within an individual. So you're frustrated. I was frustrated. Where do you go then? That's exactly right. You go to the doctor because the doctors are supposed to help you, right? At least a stethoscope checks your heart. You got a healthy heart. How's your heart? So I said, Doc, listen, I've got these issues. What did he do? He immediately threw an antidepressant at it. Did that solve my issues? No, it didn't. And today, opiates are up over 30% in the market. This is last year in 2019. And I promise you that this year it's even exceeding that number. Amazon's not up 30%, but they're prescribing more drugs today than ever in the history of our lives. Depression shot up. It was up 27% last year in the US. And the question is, what is it doing today with COVID-19? Depression has shot up. I personally have 3 individuals that I'm tied into and working with that have dealt with suicide within their families in the last 2 months. Okay, so the doctors throw drugs at it. You're frustrated. Where do I go? Let's read the books. Read the books. I love to read. Many of the books I've got some insightful information on and some new information. But here's the bottom line. It didn't help change my patterns of behavior, and more importantly, it didn't make me happier, healthier, and more grounded. So the next level up that people go to is they go to rehab. I have a friend in rehab right now that I was working with. Her and her family chose the path of rehab, which I only wish the best for her. But the reality is this is her 3rd time going through rehab. Do I think it's going to work this time? God, I hope so. But here's the thing, is that rehab, I just talked to an individual 2 days ago. They're talking an individual going through rehab 7 times. I'm going to tell you right now, if I didn't get the answer on that after the 2nd time, I'd probably ask for my money back. Rehab isn't working today. Now, I want to be clear, that's an assumption. The statistics are, on average, about a 6% success rate across the U.S. with rehab. I'm a business guy. Would I invest in a startup where they said I had a 6% chance of success? The answer is no. So these are the solutions to our core issues today. And we wonder why we have all these issues politically, with protests, with depression, with suicide. Are you kidding me? We're not dealing with the core issues. Sinjara Wellness does. You're going to hear a lot more about Sinjara Wellness, the outcomes, the methodologies, the processes, but more importantly, you're going to get to hear from our clients how their lives were changed forever. It's not about the next best drug. It's not about the next best seminar. It's not about that. It's about we've taken many different aspects and many different methodologies that we know work. And more importantly, it changes the patterns of behavior within an individual. I don't have enough time today to go into all those methodologies, but here's what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a high level. Okay, so with addictions, depression, suicide, and mental health issues, what's the core of all of those? The core issue that has created those is childhood trauma, and specifically before the age of 3. Now, here's the crazy thing. I've had many clients and dealt with many professionals. They go, well, you know, the individual doesn't remember before the age of 3. You don't have to remember the specific incident. But what I can tell you is that if we go to a whiteboard and we map it out, you can see the correlation to whatever that trauma was, whether it's sexual, verbal, emotional abandonment, whatever that trauma was, and you can see exactly how that played out in your life and the choices and decisions and relationships that you're currently in or were in, and more importantly, the negative impact it's had on your life. And yet, you still go to the counselor, read the books, go to the seminars, look online, and it's not changing the patterns. So what do we do today? We isolate. We isolate. We think that's a solution. Here's the thing, is if God or whoever wanted us to isolate, we wouldn't have a world population over 7 billion people. We're here to help each other. So here's the thing. We've taken the best technologies. We've taken some very specific spiritual work, education, and structure, and Eastern philosophy, and we combine all 5 of those to help you break those patterns of behavior. So I'm going to give you a real example, and then we're going to probably sign off because I know you're busy. And I'm happy to help you, guide you the information, answer your questions, and dive in deeper. But here's the bottom line. Older lady, when she was a young girl, when she was a baby, she was 6 months old. She was in the crib. The parents are arguing over finances in the other room. The father's yelling at the wife, and the wife is crying. That event had nothing to do with that baby, that beautiful little girl. But here's the bottom line. Even though that event had nothing to do with that little girl, that's trauma. And specifically, it made that girl feel that she's inadequate, unloved, unworthy. And here's the 2 things. There's 2 triggers that have affected her whole life. 1 is loud noises, and 2 is arguing. She was at dinner with her husband. 3 tables over, there's an argument going on. It triggered her subconsciously. Her husband doesn't know what's going on. All of a sudden, her mood changed, and it's not a healthy environment for either one of them. And they end up leaving the restaurant. That was a trigger based on an event when she was 6 months old that has been making and making decisions in her life, her entire life, subconscious and consciously both. The term we'd use today is that's a people pleaser. She pleases everybody, her children, her husband, her employer, her friends, her family. Guess who ends up with the short end of the stick? She does. So we've been working together. She has an entirely new life today. And we went through many different processes to work with her with breaking those patterns of behavior. And it's not about knowledge. She knew what the issues were. She couldn't change her own patterns. So we deal with the core issues. We incorporate some fantastic technologies dealing with vibration, frequency, hypnotherapy, meditation, and many different aspects. And here's the beautiful thing. She's more grounded and she's more at peace than she's ever been in her life. So, again, if you have questions, you have struggles, you have issues, feel free to reach out to me on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok. If you want some good humor, that's what I'm talking about. You gotta lighten things up, just like in Stripes. Lighten up, Francis. So, again, I hope this is beneficial for you. I'm happy to have myself or my team dive in deeper to help you. And I can promise you that as you watch the future, Sanjara Wellness is going to have a greater impact on you and countless lives in our community. Because at the end of the day, we're one big family. Dysfunctional, I'll say that at best. But here's the thing. There's no question that I think we love each other. And at the end of the day, it's all about love. So with that, thank you, Bernardo. Thank you for your team. And I hope and pray that this had an impact on you. And I only wish we had more time. So with that, Todd Dean, checking out.
You gotta let it go at some point. There's no use hanging on so